Hello. Sorry. Like it's the first time I've spoken today. Compassion fatigue is something that's, how do we know if it's defined correctly? So, the first place that we should start is like a general search in a database where clinicians or um, licensed clinical social workers and things like that would practice and be studied in research. So if we go to databases and go to psychology, where are you, psychology? The top database is PsycInfo. And the reason that it's the top is it's the easiest to access. You can do that with any subject. And the cool thing about some of these databases is if you type in a term, it'll give you like alternates as well. Fatigue. And here you can see there's other things. One thing I was suspicious of is like, is this also called burnout? But is it like compassion? So burnout usually is like a general thing, whereas compassion fatigue is different. But here you can see all the different things: emotional exhaustion, secondary traumatic stress, and it looks like it's mostly in nursing. So let's just for an example. Oh, by the way, I stuck it in quotes so those two terms would stick together. Otherwise, you're going to get a potluck set of results. And we can see from the 22,000 things in here that that is canon. That's like the term. So what we can do is we can narrow it down um, from 1912. Let's come up to like let's come up to the pandemic, since we have so many to choose from. And still there's 5,000. So apparently this is a thing. So we can be confident that we're good there. We can go into peer reviewed. That way we're not getting dissertations, which aren't going to necessarily be helpful here. And that narrows it down to 3,810. How do we narrow it down to social work? Let's go to advanced search, and I think it'll maintain our requests. Did it? I don't know if it stayed in. No, it didn't stay in peer reviewed. Um, and we can add terms like what you're interested in. You could look at specific populations like those working with child protective services or with immigrant or refugee populations. You could really get specific. So I'm going to do social work. And then here, look, there's all these things: social work, social workers, social services. I'm going to do social work and a star, and that'll make it so we get social work or social workers or social works, I guess. So we had 3,800 before. What do we get now? Oh, I bet it's going to expand my dates again. Or is it? Yeah. Let's come up to 2018. Hey, 264. That's much more sustainable. If you want to narrow it down even further, if something appears in the abstract, which is typically what these are looking at, abstracts and keywords and titles, it's going to be a big deal. But if it's in the title, that'll mean that it's among the most important things about the article. So let's do article title, and this will help you sift through the stuff that's kind of talks about it, but it might not be the main point. Oh, then it's down to 23. Ding, 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 ding. How's that? Another place you can go and do this same search, or you could just do compassion fatigue. There's a dedicated social work database. And how you find that, I think it's called social work something or other, which makes sense, doesn't it? For my favorite one, I'm the social work librarian, so I put sociological abstracts. But if we go down, I think there's two that have social work in the title: social work abstracts, social services abstracts. I check both of these. Think of this as like a trade publication, but it's peer reviewed scholarship as well. So this isn't necessarily about psychology. This isn't necessarily about child protection services, but it's more about the people that are representing these or practicing in these. So we don't have to put in social worker. And so it's a much narrower database. And we know that we're in social work. So this is a great way of narrowing it down too. But again, you can see there's specific populations. So you have the luxury of narrowing it down. Are you looking at people who have been there for COVID, or like here's number 3 talks about COVID? Are you looking, what population do you want to add? But cruise through these. Let me know how it goes, and I'm happy to help further. Happy Monday.